Hey fans, it's me again, and this time I'm going to try and help you, Annalise. You have a question regarding font family, size, bold, italic, how to apply to one element, and also how to apply one rule to one image and not all of the images. This is a really good question because right now you're asking about how do you specify certain elements with a certain attribute. So let's get going. We go into Dreamweaver or Notepad, hit create new document and HTML5 like this, and hit create. Now, we do want to save this file here, or this document, inside a folder. We could name it website, and we're going to have the name for this specific task. And I'm just naming this folder Anna. And we're going to create our landing page index, like this. We need some text, so we go to lorem ipsum, and we copy the text inside there, and we paste it in here. Now, I do want to change lorem ipsum into fat text. How do I do that? I use strong and I close strong. This is the element on how to actually turn text into fat. So let's try and see it. Check it in our browser. You can see lorem ipsum is now fat. I want to change it simply into italic. How do I do that? Well, I use the element tag em and I close em, and we're gonna update it. And you can see now it's simply set to italic. The thing is, there is really quite a lot of these reference to how to change certain elements. And I can't remember them all, but if I wanted to say like have underline, I could always go to this website called We3 Schools. I'm gonna link it inside the video, okay? And you can probably find all the things that you would need to do to your text there, and also a lot of other things. Okay? Yeah, let's get back. Now we want to change the color, and we want to change the font family, and we want to change the size as well of this text. So how do we do that? Well, let's create a CSS style sheet, and we're gonna save it inside our folder Anon, and we're gonna save it as main, like this. Okay, now I'm gonna apply a rule which counts for everything on my document, and I do that by typing start, curly bracket start, curly bracket end, like this. There we go. Now whatever rule I write in here goes for everything on my website. So I'm gonna use font family, banana, like that, font size. I'm going to choose a nice one, 14 pixels, and a color which is kind of boring, like that. I go back into my index and I'm gonna attach my style sheet, and again Dreamweaver has this inbuilt function which is kind of nice, just writes the code for you. You just find whatever file that you need. But linkref CSS, that's the folder, and then slash, then it's looking for inside the folder my file called main.css, and it's a style sheet and type text CSS. We're gonna update this one, and let's see what my page says. Now you can see that I've changed the text on my document to this bluish, and it has the font size and it has the font family. Now let's create another text. I'll go back in here, copy this text and lorem ipsum, and paste it. We're gonna make some breaks between these two columns so we can see the difference. And the way that you are making a break is just by typing BR. If I type another BR, I make another break, so that makes sense. I just want a nice gap between these two columns. I click save, and I go in and I update it. But it still has the same color, same font, and same size. How do I change that? Well, actually, I can make a paragraph, and that paragraph can have a new rule that I want to change. So I go into my main CSS like this, and I write P, curly bracket start, curly bracket end, like that, and I give it a new font family like this. So it could be it's a Homer, no one is never using that. Font size, and we can give it 18 pixels just to see the change, and another color which can be kind of a boring sort of red, and we save it, go in and we update it. Now you can see that this column has been changed because I've applied a new rule to it. I applied a paragraph to it. But then you might ask yourself, well, what about this up here? Wasn't this supposed to count for everything on the page? Well, that is true. But style means body, and body is the first rule, but inside that we have another element, and that is a paragraph. And this paragraph has been assigned a new rule, so that rule will override the previous rule, okay? So whatever rule I'm applying inside a rule is going to count, okay? Hope that makes sense. At least it will, you know, after you've been coding for a while, hopefully. Now, we want to have another column with text. So let's just copy this one and apply it. And we're going to make the same breaks like this. And we're going to have another paragraph, actually. But this paragraph, we do really want to have a different value. So how do we do this? Because right now, it's just the same thing as the one up here. We want to change it. So we add a value to this paragraph, which means that we say P, and then we write ID equals, and then a value, and we're just going to give this value Anna. So this paragraph now has a value named Anna. Okay, so how we refer to this one inside Dreamweaver is the hash bracket, like this, and then we write Anna, because that's the reference to the ID, like that, and we give it a new font, family, like this. And we're going to give it an Times New Roman, like that. Font size, let's try and give it 24. So now we can really see the difference. We could also just buy the color. And we're just going to keep it a nice masculine purple, like that. Okay? We go back in and we hit F5. So this value now has the value of Anna. And you can see that it has applied a new attribute to it, which is purple, another font family, and another font size. And I could actually continue doing like this. So I can actually copy this column here and paste it underneath it with the brackets, with the breaks, so you can see the difference. And I can give it a new value if I want to. And I can continue doing this until I pretty much just don't need it anymore. I could call this one Dan, for example. So if this was a text about me, you know, it will have the assets that I've chosen. If I hit save and hit F5, you know, it hasn't really changed yet. It's just the same value as this one up here, despite that I've given it a value of ID Dan, but I haven't really applied any values to it. I need to go into my CSS and I need to refer to Dan, for an example, like this. I'm just copying this one and then Dan, and then I can change whatever values that I want changed in here. Like we can change it to Korean Nero, and we can change the font size to 12, and we can change the color to sort of grayish like this, and we can hit F5, and then this will have the value of Dan, and thereby it will change. So the rule is always overriding the rule depending on where the element is. The element is inside body, and inside body we have a paragraph and we have IDs, Anna and Dan. So I hope this one at least helped you understanding how to actually change your text by applying a value to it. Okay? The next question you had was regarding your image. You want to change the style for one image and not all the images. So we're going to use the code element for image source, which is an element that now it knows that it's an image, and we're going to find an image, and I have one in my root folder that I want to save that inside your folder. So we're just gonna right click it, and we're gonna copy it, and we're gonna go into your folder, and we're gonna make a new folder named images, like this. And inside that one we're just gonna save it as Dan. Simple as that. Okay, if I update it, it should probably have it. I don't know why. Let me just try and check again. Image source. Oh, it's because I haven't saved it. Makes sense. So opening the file inside images, and I'm gonna paste it. That's what I forgot. Like this. And I'm gonna write it same code again. Image source, search for it, and now we have it. I'm just gonna check it's inside Anna's folder. That's true. And I'm gonna close it like that. Hit F5, and now I can see the image. Now I want to specify a value for this image. I don't want it to be where it is right now. I want it to be in the completely different side. I want it to be in the right side. So how I do that is actually I can go directly into my image source code and I can write style like this, and then I can give it a float right, which means that I take now this element and I float it right. Let's try and save this, and you can see now it's in the right side. So that's actually how I do it. I can add another image. Let's just try and do that. I know it's the same image, but this is just to show you the difference. And this time, instead of floating right, I'm going to float left. Okay, like this. And I'm also going to apply another value to it because I'm not done. I'm going to actually give it a border of 2 pixels solid, and I'm going to choose a color, a very nice color, a red color, like that. So I can keep on adding all these values to this specific element as I'm doing right now. So you can see this one has a border around it, red, this one doesn't. So there's a difference between these two already. Now another thing that I can actually do is I can put a div around it, which means I can put a container. Same thing as we just did with this PID. But instead of P, we can just use a div ID equals, and then it could be picture frame, for example, like this. If you were to have a frame around your image, and then close it, and then inside our CSS we could always refer to it, giving it a width and a height, saying like hashtag picture frame end curly bracket begin start, sorry, curly bracket start and end. And inside this one we could give it a width because we know it's 100 pixels, and I can check my dimensions just by clicking the image. I can see dimensions 100 times 101, and I always know that it's width first, then height. Height 101 pixels. So now this website with its ID picture frame now knows that it actually has a fixed size, and I can start doing stuff to it like padding 20 pixels. Let's try and see what happens then. And see, now I'm moving the image around compared to anything around me. I can also use a margin instead if I want to. I can use a margin. I could use 20 pixel top, 0 pixel from the right, 0 pixel from the bottom, but 200 pixels from the left. This is how the dimension in margin works. And then you can see now I'm starting to move these images around. So, and I really hope that this tutorial helped you, okay, understanding your problem. If not, you're always welcome just to ask me again. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.